Hello and welcome everybody, I'm one proud Bavarian and this is Jon Shafer's At the Gates, the very first episode of this game on this channel. I've been playing this game in the preview version for about 7 days maybe, and I've fallen in love with it. It's a 4X game that has been in development since 2013. You can read up on the story of Jon Shafer and this game in a blog written by Jon Shafer. It went through a very hazardous, very dangerous time, but what has come out should stand on its own 2 feet. I'm not somebody that essentially pulls out the sub story of the creation of something and then says, hey, and this is why you should like this game. Instead, I would rather show you the merit of the game, and hopefully you will fall in love with it as much as I have. There are some flaws here and there, but all in all, this is a game that I would, and I will say it, okay, I will go so far. I think this game revolutionizes the 4X genre as we know it today in multiple ways. This is mostly because the entire starting base fundamental idea of the game is that it is not a multiplayer game. There is no symmetry, there is no balance, there is no, hey, you always have to start out in a fairly equal position and then make the most out of it. Quite the opposite. The empires and tribes that you will encounter here in a setting in which you are one of the tribes that want to invade or just take over the Roman Empire, those are the winning conditions. In that setting, you will encounter tribes that are larger, smaller, that are all over the place. You will have the Roman empires that will without a doubt outclass you, and you will survive. Despite all of that, you will live on. You will never surrender. And what would be more fitting than playing a very unique, a bit of a zany campaign? I've played about 20 hours so far. I've unlocked 2 new tribes. The normal one that you have is the Goth tribe, and I will just pick on this. As you can see here, all of these can be unlocked by either defeating them or making an alliance with them, and every single tribe has their own little special thing. Just to point it out, by the way, I want to say it right now, only 2 minutes in. This will be an episode, or rather this will be a series that will come out every second day, so every other day. If you want it to be every day, I don't want to spam you with videos is the thing, right? But if you want it to be every single day, write in the comments that this is your desire and maybe I will think about it. I unlocked, as I said, the Picts and the Franks. The Franks are insanely difficult. I'm serious. The Franks are too hard for me. The Franks are essentially, hey, we are Nicene Christian, and everybody that follows either pagan or Arian Christian beliefs is our enemy, and you're at immediate war with them, and it's a big threat. It's terrible. The Picts, on the other hand, have a very interesting starting position because usually you start with 3 clans that make up your tribe at the start of the game. The Picts start with 8. So we're going to play the Picts, and let me tell you, I have something more planned than just playing the Picts. There is so much more in this game, and I am more than willing to take a jump into the cold water, potentially lose a campaign with a bit of a zany strategy that you will see develop in maybe the first 2 or 3 episodes already. And I will also explain everything in this game as we go. So we will play fairly, slowly. I expect maybe to do 1 or 2 turns in the first episode, but we're going to take a look at it. And I hope that you take as much joy as well as just knowledge with you as you can from these videos. So let's just start as the Picts. If you hover over it, we will be dressed of the Picts, and our unique ability will be that we start the game with 8 clans. That is amazing. There's also other stuff. For example, the Huns, right? They can never build their own structures. They cannot own any. They're constantly nomadic, and that is a big game changer. If you're wondering what is making this game unique other than just the asymmetry, well, for the first half of the game or so, maybe just 1/3, you essentially are nomadic. You do not have a proper home. You can pack up your clan, you can pack up your tribe whenever you want to and go somewhere else. Now, if that is always the wisest decision remains to be seen, but as it stands, and as we're loading in, ooh, I'm interested. As we're loading in, we're gonna take some time here because there's gonna be 8 tribes that are gonna come zoomed up here. Usually it's only 3, so it's done quicker. While all of this happens, I shall explain the northwest, the upper left corner. This shows that we have 8 clans and we can have 12 total. You can put that limit up, you can push that limit up by spending cloth. Cloth is something that you can trade for or you can buy, and I can already see there's some other people over here. I'm frightened. I am more than frightened. Those clans we will get to know a bit better in a second over here. In 17 turns, the next clan will arrive. If we only start with 3 clans, the next clan will arrive in 1 turn, and so on and so forth. So the more clans you have, the longer it will take for them to come, because you need to fulfill a fame threshold. Right now we're producing 4 fame per turn. There are professions and jobs that make it so that you generate more fame and attract other clans quicker. So that is how you grow. But those clans in themselves also have families. So one clan can have multiple families within themselves, which also grows. And that is relevant. We're going to skip the score over here. This is relevant for the food, because families eat food. As you can see here, 3 clans of one family consuming a total of 0.6 food per turn. This is for the normal thing. Once you gain more families, so every family consumes 0.2, which means that we consume quite a bit in food. Anyway, what it comes down to is just you don't want to run out of it. This is not, I have a stockpile of 10, this is just, my food is enough for 10 turns. If we grow, our food stockpile won't be enough for 10 turns anymore, which means that this number will shrink and we will do -1 turn every turn, unless we start harvesting food and so on and so forth. Right here, we already know that we have some horses, 3 to be correct. They will be eaten, by the way, if we run out of food, so let's not run out of food anytime soon. However, what also happens with them is that essentially you can use those. Those are in a stockpile, those are part of your storage, and you can use them in with various purposes. As you can see, you can turn them into war horses, you can also just get their skin and so on and so forth. There's a lot that will be done, and this list of resources in your stockpile will get larger as the game goes on. Up here we have just a thing that shows us what year and what month is it. Every single year, except the first one because we start in April, has 24 turns, because you have one for the early and one for the late months. So the next turn will be late April, 400 AD. The game, as you can see, takes place over only a few years, because already 4 or 5 years are more than 100. 4 or 5 years are more than 100 turns. So as you can see, this is not a game that goes up to like 500 AD. I think a usual campaign ends somewhere around 407 AD. But I will also be honest with you, I haven't actually properly finished the campaign. I have settled and everything. I have explored multiple angles to play this game, but we haven't actually finished a campaign that would be worthy of being called finished. Now let's talk about the religion before we move on to the clans. We are Arian Christian, as you can see, so if we ever meet the Franks, then they will be very unhappy and immediately declare war against us. There are also some pagans. I think Attila the Hun is a pagan, and then we have the Nicene Christianity. It's just a split, essentially, that happened in, I think, like 328 or something. There was a council in Nicaea, and they had a different understanding of the world, and the tribes, you know, adopted different versions of Christianity. Now, in our case, as the Picts, we believe in Arian Christianity. Right, this over here is an interface with the Roman victory progress. You can do it either by taking over the capital of a Roman empire. So there are 2 Roman empires. There's the Western Roman Empire and there's the Eastern Roman Empire. Either can be taken over by you, and if you do, then you win the game, or you just send clans to be trained as Roman legions, and once you have 5 clans trained, you can become the Magister Militum, which essentially means you're taking over the Roman Empire from the inside. That being said, let's just jump into the clans. We start with Clan Siegfried, who is really cool because they are miners. We will get to the profession, which is this later. Not all clans start in a profession. Not all clans start even with a discipline point. So disciplines is something that I will explain in a second as well. All you need to know is this one starts with both. Every single clan starts with a certain happiness level. They are content. If you don't see a smiley here, they're just, you know, in like a normal mood. They can be in a good and a bad mood, and that influences their output as well as just how they feel about the tribal situation as a whole. Now, every clan has 2 clan traits that cannot be changed. They are miners. Obviously, they start in the mining profession, in metalworking, and they do not want to work outside of metalworking. So if we were to put them out of metalworking, they would be like, hey, I hate you now. And that means that they would become very unhappy. They're also stoic. Stoic means that their mood is always content, so for them it can never ever change. They have never desires, and they will never engage in feuds with other clans. They will also never engage in brawls. Good to know. A very quiet, wholesome clan. Next is Clan Pharamond. We know our numbers might be small, but we plan on working hard for you. So they are nomadic, which means that they start with levels in livestock. They also brought the horses into our stockpile. Usually you have nothing in your stockpile, but in this case, since we had them arrive with us and make up our clan, or our tribe rather, they have horses within them. They will get upset if they are not in the livestock profession. And as you can see, they don't currently have a profession, so they might get angry at us unless we give them a livestock profession soon enough. They also have low fertility, which makes it so that their families, you can see the families of each clan on the top. Right now this one is only one family, but they will grow a second one in 16 turns. And they have low fertility, so they grow slower. Good to know. But this seems to be a nice clan as well, you know, no negative traits. Sometimes you have negative traits. Oh, here come the negative traits. So this is the clan Roderick. Mary's pretty feverish, Gen's got the runs, and Jim's got a broken leg, but other than that, we're good to go. So they are lazy, -1 movement point, and +1 turn to train. Likelihood of having desires doubled. They are also frail, which just makes it so that they are even slower in moving. Max health is halved, and they will never engage in feuds with other clans because they are afraid of those clans. When it comes to brawls, theft, and feuds, we will talk about that once one of those actually happen. Let's hope that they don't happen for a long time, but if you start with as many clans as we do, it is likely that people will get into feuds or you know, brawls or maybe even theft, because once they are on the same tile, there is a percentage every turn that they might engage in it. Now this clan, pretty terrible, I'll be honest with you, pretty terrible. Since they are so terrible at walking around, this is one of the clans that you will very likely keep around in your settlement and don't actually send to resources. This is the clan Aldemar. They are... Wait, what was that? You saw it, right? So they're nervous, which is good for their crime rate, but bad for their morale. And they're also squeamish, which is even worse for their morale. And they hate working with livestock because they're like, animals? I can't deal with animals. Are you crazy? Right. So they certainly won't be working in livestock. Good to know. This is Nana. Thanks for inviting us in, but we must warn you that we may need some extra space. We've got some new additions on the way. So they are the opposite of the slow breeders or whatever it was, low fertility, whatever. They are really quick about it. They also have better resource production and better resource production from constructed structures as well as more health. Quite a good clan. However, they are sullen, which means that they will always be upset. You can now see it right here in the smiley. They don't like just being alive. They're like, life is suffering and I am caught in the prison that is the normal world. So that means that their resource production and their morale and everything decreases because they're just unhappy. That is very unfortunate, but honestly, they're still quite nice. As you can see here, their next family is already on the way in 8 turns. That's quite nice, isn't it? And then we have Edelbert. They don't have anything to say. They're also sullen and squeamish. What a terrible, terrible clan. And then we have Adelhard. They're squeamish and perceptive. So these are really good as scouts, because they just see more of the map at the same time. So probably we're going to educate Adelhard as a scout. Phew, you wouldn't believe how long we've been walking now. Had to have been at least a few hours. So you've got somewhere we can sit. Man, we have so many lazy clans. So they're lazy. They don't like walking around, and they're also gregarious, which means that they are amazing in social professions. So if we have anything that is a social profession, they should get it. So much for the clans. Right now, I will introduce you to what it means to have a profession, to what it means to have technology. They call it knowledge screen in general, and what it means to have a discipline. So let's open up a big scary screen. I'm going to make it a bit smaller. There you go. This is the knowledge screen. There are 6 disciplines in total. There's discovery, crafting, metalworking, livestock, agriculture, and honor. An important note that I will point out right now is that the very first technology of any of those disciplines makes it so that you, in the turn that technology finishes, can distribute 2 points in that discipline to any clan in the settlement. So for example, if we research honor, we get 2 points in the discipline honor that we can then distribute to one of our clans. As you can see, we produce knowledge and professions produce knowledge. Now let's have a look here. Every single discipline has a lot of jobs. All of the major things, the upgrades not so much, they're just upgrades for existing jobs, but all of the major things are jobs, okay? And you want to keep an eye on those, because it means that once you have a clan locked in a discipline, you most likely want to keep him there. Sometimes, especially if the clan has a desire to change discipline, you want to change the discipline, but it is a costly and time-consuming procedure. Most of the time, what you want to do is, you want to go ahead and make sure that you, for example, specialize somebody in discovery and then keep him there. So, for example, Surveyors has a level 3 in the discipline of discovery. That means that if you have somebody that has 3 points in discipline, they can learn being a surveyor within 1 turn. But if you have somebody that is level 1, it will take them 3 turns. So far, so good. I think it's quite obvious. Galleys, as you can see here, 5. So you can do the maths yourself. It's important to have clans that are good in specific tasks so that they can actually walk on and take care of it. That is true for every single thing. Now, another little tidbit that I missed initially when I started playing this game is, by the way, there is no background music. They decided just to have noises and event music play whenever possible. And that kind of honestly gives a nice setting, so I don't want to complain. But if you want to complain, then let me know in the comments, and then maybe I can put some music underneath. But for the moment, let me just explain you one thing. If you have any technology from a level of technology, you can immediately jump to the next level. As you can see here, every base technology level from these here connects to one of these. This in practice means that you can specialize like crazy in this game. You can go ahead and essentially go for trappers, and if you don't need meat cutters but you do want a horse trainer, you can just straight up go for it right after. So you don't have to go for anything, you don't have to fill up the entire base level, for example. So this game gives you a huge variety in choices, while at the same time not locking you into anything. You can always kind of deviate from a path. Now, for the first turn of researching, it is important to know what do you need as an immediate education. What profession do you need immediately? Why is that important? First of all, the guy in charge of Clan Nan has this truly monstrous pimple between his eyes. It makes it quite difficult to even speak with him. These bubbles sometimes disappear very quickly, which is why I interrupted myself there to read it. Now, as you can see, only one of our clans has a profession and a discipline. I won't talk about the miner profession yet because we can't use it. Miners are quite useless as it is. Actually, now that I think about it, we might as well make him into a digger then. Okay, but first of all, an explanation. Your settlement can do 3 things in a turn. You can train a clan in a profession. Profession are the jobs that we've seen. You can train them in a discipline, for example. These are the disciplines, and if you train them, then they will rise up to level 1. You can also produce treasure, which gives you more treasure. With treasure, you can buy things from a caravan that comes along every so often. Never in the winter, sometimes in the summer, sometimes spring, and sometimes autumn. Now, I will give you a hint right here. If you are going to play this game, make sure that you, for the time being, try to avoid producing treasure as often as you can. Because producing treasure essentially means that you're not building up your economy. Your economy is every single clan. Your economy is every single profession that you can teach a clan. So until you've taught every single clan, do not produce treasure. And even if you have taught every single clan, think about reteaching some, think about re-educating some. For example, this one right here is a miner. What can a miner do? They can build mines over structures that are minerals. So for example, this right here is a mineral. This right here is a mineral that we have heard about. It's a rumor, nothing more. And this right here we know will be a field of wheat. This will be a patch of berries. This is another mineral we don't know. And these are another unidentified plants. So a lot of plants down here. But the thing is, to build a mine, which a miner can do over these minerals, first we have to identify the mineral. A miner cannot do that. Only a digger or a surveyor can do it, as you can see right here. And second of all, even if we knew what it was, we would have to know that we need wood or stone blocks, both of which are part of the economy that we are going to build. So what we're going to do right now, as miners are entirely useless to us, we might want to think about re-educating them. As you can see here, miners is the second stage. So if we re-educate him right now to be a digger, he can identify this resource and then also start digging there as a forager. Now, what is the difference between a clan foraging in a mineral or in a resource and being a proper, a miner? A miner would build a small mining village right here that can mine in the winter as well. A forager in a very harsh winter might have to stop mining because he will have to go around and gather resources to survive. That can happen and means that you get less from the resources in more time if you are simply based on foragers. You can base your economy on foragers or on miners, or on both. You can really as I said, this game has a lot of variety. So what we're going to start out with, I'm going to retrain Clan Siegfried as a digger. It's only going to take 1 turn, and then we're going to study a profession, and I always like to start with discovery, because it makes it so that we can give somebody 2 free points, which then leads to that person, or rather that clan, to be able to learn the profession of... explorers immediately within 1 turn. So for now, we're done. This is our first turn. The rest of the turns won't take that long, I can promise you that much. At least I hope so. But for the moment, let's just carry on. Alright, let's finish the turn. Now, as you go, once you finish somebody training, he will pop up on the map. You can always send them back into the settlement, but in the case of a digger, you don't really want to do that. What you want to do with a digger is dig. And you know, it would seem wise, right? Because this is in our region, to send them over here. I tell you it's not wise, because this unidentified mineral deposit is in a swamp area, in a marshy area. And that marshy area makes it so, you can see it in the bottom right, that we lose the next turn of this unit if entered. I will instead go down here and try if we can't get this... it's behind the goddamn trees. If we can't get this unidentified material. This was a gamble. I lost it. It's not that important. We also have to give away 2 levels in discovery, and let's have a look here. Who was the one? There you go. Perceptive +1 vision range. I'm going to teach you Adelhard in exploration, and then I'm going to make you an explorer. Next turn, because they have a skill level of 2, they can immediately learn becoming an explorer, and we will use them to kind of look around on the map. I have a big plan. I hope that this is not just like a small water here. I want this to be the ocean, because I have a big plan, and let me tell you, I am not going to be stopped. Anyway. The next thing we want to research should be something that can be useful. Now, what can be useful? We know that we have a lot of wheat over here, and we need food as we are running out of it. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to study agriculture, and then hand out 2 discipline points to train somebody that can reap our food over here and make it so that we will not starve, and gather some more food until the winter comes. Because in the winter, obviously, the wheat field will stop being an option for us. Alright, and with that turn finished, let's just carry on. And I think we're actually going to make it to like turn 5 or 6 here, which is quite nice. Look at that view. Do you see how much this dude sees? Isn't it crazy? You may switch a clan's discipline to agriculture. Interesting, there's already water over here. So, who will become the agriculture clan, I wonder? Not you, because you want to be in livestock, I understand. Maybe you? What do you think? What about you? I think it's going to be Aldemar, right? Sullen. I think it's going to be... I think we're going to... I'm going to take Edelbert, actually. Edelbert, I will now teach you in the profession of being a reaper. And now that we have the scout here, we can walk around and explore the regions around us. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go further southeast to find out if the sea leads anywhere. We also know there are some trees over here. Having somebody to cut down trees is very, very important. Now usually, and I will say this before we continue, just so that you understand it, because Picts have a bit of a different playstyle since they start with 8 clans. Usually, I would always, quite quickly, go for the bard's position. Because bards generate fame, and that means that you get more clans more quickly. We don't really need that, because we already start with 8 clans, so we can start amassing fame later. But we will get there eventually. Anyway, let's go ahead and kind of survey this. Interesting. Interesting. I think we're gonna do what I had in mind for this playthrough from the very start. Alright, we'll have to move into that in the next turn then. That's okay. Let's study one more profession, and that profession will be crafting, because I want somebody to be a wood collector down here, so that we can get some wood that will get us started with everything in terms of production. Now, as much wood as you can get is as much wood as you should shoot for. Honestly, no joke, I have never had too much wood. Simply never happened. Right, as you can see, we now got a Reaper. I'm going to send him into the field. Oh, and we just met the Franks. Oh no, we just met the Franks. Is this already going to be the end of a playthrough? So they're now foraging, and as you can see, we're not losing anymore. We're making every turn 0.6 food. Right. Well, this is down here. You may know it from Civilization. It's a deserted village. That deserted village is something, if you move in there with an explorer, then you will get something. We got 30 treasure, which is quite nice. Are these... Is this the East Roman Empire down here? So we know these are the Franks, but we don't know what this is. And I'm scared of the Franks, by the way. I don't know if I've mentioned this, but the Franks are very scary people. They're bandits all around, man. I'm not very happy about that. Anyway, we can teach somebody crafting, and I want somebody to, of course, get us some wood. So I almost feel like we want to go with a nunner. I'm going to teach you how to be a wood collector, and then we're going to build up our economy on foragers first, and then make a step towards a permanent economy. Oh, we're not at war. Are we also Nicene Christian? Wait, did I overlook that? Greetings, stranger. I seek a fair and friendly relationship with you. Are you of a similar mind? We have -3 leverage. We're not at war with them, it appears, but they do really not like us. They're suspicious. I'm gonna say it's nice to meet you as well. I'll send word should anything important come up. What is our religion? We're Aryans, though. Why are we not at war? Maybe the AI can decide whether they... Oh, it is the Eastern Roman Empire down here. Interesting. They are gonna welcome us in the next turn, so be prepared for that once that comes up. Let's have a look at what we can research next. I always feel as though honor is kind of wasted unless you have animals close by, because early on combat, maybe I'm just too bad for it, but I don't want to do it. It's a bit threatening. What I'm going to do, by the way, I'm going to name the regions that we know. Swamps of the North. I like naming things in this game. It's just so comfy to know that you've known, you know, Bay of... What is our... We're the Picts, right? Bay of Storms. Oh, Bay of Tranquility. This bay right here secures our camp, secures our forefathers, and will secure us. This is the Neverwoods, because they never end. I love doing that stuff. I'm so sorry. I really love it. And these are the Plains of Abundance. Because despite being a steppe area, look at all these plants. That's crazy. We also got some bees here. We also have some wheat and even more unidentified plants. Let's study a profession. What shall we study? I don't feel like honor is a good idea. Usually I don't feel like honor is a good idea, to be honest with you. I think we might want to go with lawkeepers, because they give you technology points, and whenever we actually get one, or whenever we want to educate a lawkeeper, we can do that. The East Roman Empire, as I said, will welcome us here in this world in the next turn. I almost said episode. There they are. You've met Emperor Valens of the Eastern Roman Empire. And as you can see, we now have a wood collector right here. I want to send him down there to forage the wood. Now, if you have a deposit that you don't know what it is, for example, we knew what this was, so they could immediately start foraging. But if you don't know what it is, you have to identify it. That takes 4 turns, as you can see. And doesn't cost anything, so at least that is good. I don't know if there's anything down here that is interesting to us. I'm gonna tell you, because the episode is gonna end here in a second. I'm gonna tell you what we're gonna do. We are going to set out on an epic journey to cross the ocean and invade some other poor smug's land. That is right. I will pack up the entire settlement, I think either after 1 or after 2 winters. We will get on a ship and then we will just go away and hopefully find good land. Now this land here isn't bad, but you know, it could be better. There's not enough minerals. The Franks are so close. It's a dangerous reality, isn't it? Let's talk to the Eastern Roman Empire before we end this episode. Greetings, stranger. I seek a fair and friendly relationship with you. Are you of a similar mind? So they are Aryan Christian, which means they are our friends. I'm going to give them some treasure here so that we might become friends long term, although we will very likely move away from them. Now the thing about these is, also this is a really nice northern border for them, because most units, most clans lose 1 or lose 2 turns actually. Wow, because this is swamps. But usually they just lose 1 turn if they enter a stream area, so a stream tile. As you can see already, weather as well, for example, as you can see, it costs 2 move points to enter because there's heavy rain. So weather and the tile's basic level, as is, already influences heavily how your units can move through it. This Eastern Roman Empire could be a goal for us, but let me tell you, I've once explored an entire Eastern Roman Empire and it is large. Don't mess with them too early, that's all I can say. We still have to train a clan. I think animals with short tails are the worst, because when you can always see their you know, I will pretend I didn't just read that. We gotta think about educating somebody in something here. Now, I was thinking, since we don't have any animals close by, I was thinking we just educate you, for example, as a gatherer, and then you can gather up here. What about that, huh? Takes 3 turns. I think I'm gonna put you in as a gatherer. Maybe as a digger, though? More minerals are more minerals are more minerals. I think we're gonna go gatherer here, right? Right, sure. I will see you in the next episode of At the Gates by Jon Shafer with the Picts that will, sooner rather than later, go on a sea journey to distant shores. Somewhere, maybe over here. It's a big map, let me tell you that much already. You may not think it is, but it's a huge map. I will see you in the next episode. Later, alligator.